Maybe the last one. So you can see yes, no, neither, missing. Missing, which means they didn't show up for the voting. And then we also show how did, if you just scroll a little bit up, now you can see if parties in Poland form so-called clubs within parliaments. So this is why we have this wording, clubs. So you can see that those two clubs voted, all of the members of parliament present during that session and voting, all of them from this club voted yes. Then you can see clubs here who voted totally no, 1, 2. And then you can see that this club, SLD, voted no, but two MPs voted actually yes. So if we see that there is, for example, that let's say some party has 100 MPs in parliament and 1 or 2 of them votes against the majority of its club, then we call it, then we say they rebelled. And yes, okay, so this is more or less and every legal act has this kind of steps. Some, of course, are currently being discussed or they're waiting. I mean, it can take many months before the law is passed in Poland. So I mentioned that that's one of the main focuses. The second one is the members of parliament. And this is something we have, we knew it's going to be our most sexy function from the day we have relaunched Sejmometr. It was one of the last main features we have actually released. Now, I know that it's very common in US that you give your zip code anywhere if you want to find some promotion, buy a phone, or find your MP, but it is totally not in Poland. One of the reasons for that is that we do not vote only for one member of parliament in our elections. We actually have a party system, so we vote for 2. And if I live in Warsaw, in my region, I actually have 10 members of parliament representing me in the parliament. It's just so. But anyhow, we knew that people in Poland, they actually, most of them, I don't think they know who is representing them in parliament. So we set up this goal that we want to construct this database and somehow connect, give the ability to people to provide zip code, and then they will see, even if it's 100 people representing them, they will see only those responsible. And we managed to do that. It took us, Daniel had to connect 3 databases, and for one we were actually waiting because it was posted to us with the traditional mail. There was a TXT file burned on a CD, but we got it. And can you just show? Just put some zip code. So you see from this zip code, there is many people responsible for this region. Okay, now let's open Jan Szyszko. So now here, this, I know, he looks very tired of this work he's doing, but okay. So the main page, the wall, so-called the wall, we are happy to say that we are trying to copy it from Facebook. And because here, every action the member of parliament is taking within the parliament is being noted here as a status update. So it's going to like, Jan Szyszko took part in a debate, you see? So it's like, hey, I arrived to TCamp. Jan Szyszko brought to the parliament a draft. I know that in US, one person sponsors an act. In Poland, it's a little bit different. It requires 15 people to co-sign it, and then it can enter parliament. So it's usually men and MPs signing it. Okay, and then he voted, again took part in the debate, and maybe he go up. So what you can see here is, everything is statements, but it's not. So first of all, you can see what the MP said in the parliament, like in what debate took part, and then you see if he rebelled, against his party. And then you can see what new bills he has submitted to Parliament. And some of them, they haven't done anything new, even put a stupid signature for many months. And whether he has submitted a new written question. A written question is when MP wants to learn something more about some law or a problem, then he can send a written question to some government institution, and this institution is obliged to reply to him. And of course, session summaries. If you go to, can you show the absences? Here. Can you show it in Polish, actually? Yeah. So now you can see here. I mean, according to Parliament law, MP gets a bonus if they vote, because then they get like a presence. Like, yes, he was present at session number 91 in Parliament. They need to vote more than. They need to take part in more than 20% of votings. If they don't, even if they were hanging out in the bar next to Parliament and talking and doing some politics, it's not counted. They don't get bonus. And we follow this lead, and so you can see that Mr. Szyszko is very tired here because, for example, he likes not to vote. Here you can see in December 2010, 100% missed. I mean, I understand it was just before Christmas, and then you can see, okay. He did something here, but then again 100%, 99.3%. So this guy is not very active. And here you can see this is something where we go crazy because we have all of this data, and with data you can have lots of fun. So there is this statistics section here. So you can see. It's actually deputies. It's actually legal acts brought to the Parliament. Yes, so the ones he signed, and you can see that this is he signed 70. Average of his club is 73, and average of the whole Parliament per member is 46. So he's quite here. He looks okay. How many questions did he ask? 36, below both averages. Absences. Now here it's 3 times more than the average. Statements he made. Now we also calculate how many words. I mean, it's only a quantity analysis. It's not quality. But since we have all this data on debates, we are able to I mean, we just calculate how many words were spoken by this guy in Parliament, and you can see that he is below here. And the average length of his speeches when it comes to words. And yeah, and now if you can go back to the MP, to the wall, yes. So there are 2 things which you can do. A, you can subscribe via RSS to all of his actions, and every new action will just pop up as a new item in the RSS feed. Or if you click add to follow, and then follow this guy. And okay, the guy is followed, so every action will end up in your email. So the next time you'll meet him, you can actually talk about what he's doing. And this is basically everything what I wanted to show you about the front end. We also have written questions here, and if you can just go for a second to sessions. Because Parliament in Poland has like more or less 3 sessions a month. They usually last from Wednesday till Friday for 3 days. And this is one of the last sessions from April. And then on this page, you can see, starting here. Okay, you're translating. Okay, so you can see absentees by clubs. So you can see that, okay, not the ruling party was the most present, but the opposition, 30% of all MPs which were not present during the sessions come from this party. You can see that this is the basic information. You can see here all the projects which received an update during this session. Mileage meeting, I would understand that this is a translation of projects which were finalized and they were voted yes. So this is all the projects which were approved by Parliament during this session. Or this one. Actually, if you could bring it back to Polish, I mean, because... okay. And then you can see who spoke during this session, who said something. There is something like this, you know, every session has a time plan, and after a time plan, the Speaker of the Parliament says, now, if anyone wants to say anything, you can. And then the MP said, yes, I want to say something. And this is usually the part when they make political speeches, like, even though the whole session was about economy, then they will go to talk about something different. And rebels, so you can see all votings, like this lady, Lena Domkowska-Cichocka. She voted 3 times against her club. And then, of course, the most attractive section, which gathers most clicks, is who was not present. Missed everything, missed everything, missed everything, missed everything. That's a former prime minister. Oh, that's a current prime minister, missed everything. So yeah. And this is front end. This is front end. Now, we have signalized that we'll be also talking about something different, which is how we do it in the backend. I'm sorry about live stream people, but it might be tricky. So I have this little drawing here with me, and I want to talk about 2 things here. So first of all is how we minimize our data latency. So it has 2 steps. Here you can see the real world, yes? Those people here are the happy IT people of the Polish Parliament, and this is the so-called human factor. Those people, after each session, they have to update the Parliament website and provide us with new data. The one problem you are having is that, as I mentioned, the session usually lasts from Wednesday till Friday, so that means that we get the Friday data on Monday. So we lose 2 days before we can fully publish what happened on the last session. So now, once they have finalized and put everything here, which is the official same website, then we start to grab the data to our website. Now, we have a special cron script which checks the Parliament's website every 5 minutes. We are also very kind to those people because we only consume, I think, half of the megabyte per hour, so we don't want to create any other problems. And once the script grabs, there are 4 kinds of data we are grabbing from it. So first of all, this is raw transcripts of sessions. The second one is voting results. The third one is legislative documents, PDFs. And then there is written questions. And then then our system does what it can, and if we can show our admin. Any questions so far? I know I'm speeding, but okay, no, sorry. And okay.
Do you want me to hold it?
Nah.
Okay.
But thanks. So yeah, folks are done here. It was published. Cron got it, and now we are talking about this phase here. So this is the first part after the session. Yes. So we are checking what new documents have showed up here. We have to provide an author, and then goes deeper into sections. If you could show how we work on the document, the first do zrobienia, projekty, teksty, etapy, czy nie, teksty. Teraz jesteśmy na etapach, tak? So, tak? Przed chwilą? Przed chwilą byliśmy na etapach. Okay. So the first panel you have just seen is that was an updated of the status. So we checked. We are looking at all the documents and we see, okay, so there is this ongoing budget process and there is a new document from the Commission. So we are plugging into this stream. Now, once this is done, we go into this is, well, since we are grabbing PDFs, that creates a little bit of extra work for us. But usually when we grab all the data after each session, it doesn't require more than 2 hours for us to finalize everything. And you can see that the legal act in Poland consists from 5 parts. The title page, the body, and all the proper text. Then there is justification of the law. And then we have OSR, which is impact, which is basically what they are trying to see what impact this new law will bring to society. And the last one, this is basically appendixes, attachments, yes. And here in the second step, we grab this PDF and we divide it into those 5 sections. Here is a small preview, because we store our data both on our servers and on Script. We use Script just to minimize the traffic we generate. And just our small preview, and then if you could just show how it looks like. Actually, zamienia tekst. So, okay, then I go to preview, I mark some of them, and then and then if you change it, it goes to body. Yeah? And then while this is done, we save it and we go to another step, which is basically formatting, the most painful one, because, well, we have to reproduce the things which were in PDF. And can you show the next step? Blocking. So while it's loading, because we were detecting some problems with it, and it seems there is Wi-Fi is bumpy again. And so I have a couple of questions to you, unless you have some questions to me right now.
Question for you. Now, are you scraping from their screens, or do you have an agreement with the IT folks at Parliament that they will give you a data feed?
We met each other once, but there is no agreement. We scrape or grab the data as we can.
Have you encountered, have they changed, if they change formatting on their website, does that impact, do you discover on Monday, oh wait,
no, we would discover it much sooner. I guess the cron would let us know that something, but Daniel, cron would let us know, because there is a structure of a URL, and I will say that, they changed it once. What we did, it just happened once, and we don't think that it was actually aimed to somehow block us. I really don't believe in this. There was some funny situations. They changed some different URLs, and they basically cut out the whole national court in Poland from its data. But okay. So yeah, and now. Current power of Sejmometr, which is becoming quite well known and quite popular project in Poland, is that it is very. There were at least one try done by a newspaper to develop something like this 2 years ago, and they failed because their idea was to publish lots of commentaries on top of the data. That was basically to be a view providing a platform instead of data providing platform. Now, we had, can you go back to Sejmometr? Now, we talked to a couple of people yesterday to Transparency Camp, and it's basically the comments and somehow allowing interaction between citizens and the portal itself, which they find missing. We also are thinking about like what happens if we give the power to somehow power to the people, like to allow them to comment or to provide feedback on the act. What to do then with members of parliament, whether they should also be given a space, and that's actually something I wanted to discuss with you. I mean, in general, the concept of this website is one-liner. We want to provide as easy access as possible for everything what's happening within Parliament, and that can be developed in every country. Now, the technology will vary depending on your system, I mean the legal system, and how your system works. And that's the question I wanted to ask you, because we have to find a solution how to properly integrate a citizen voice into it and probably integrate members of parliament vote. Any ideas or would be welcomed.
The project we have in Latvia is exactly what you don't have here. We don't have this part, but we have the one that you said you want to integrate the citizen voice. Our focus is just on that. But I'm not on that.
So your project is, so if you, actually I will give you this. Sorry.
I was just saying, if it is for the record, that in Latvia we have that part that you said that you are missing in Poland is the citizen voice and the ability to ask questions and get answers. It's used through Twitter and any other social network that you can register on. But we don't have this, and that's what probably we could share. But I'm not working on that myself, and I could probably put you in touch. If you would put it on, it would look like I called it yesterday an involuntary Facebook for the MPs and ministers. I stole that phrase from somebody here, but that's what it is. They were all just registered there when they became the members of the parliament or were appointed to be the minister. And they are not all using it, but out of 100, and then 10, 100 plus like 15 ministers approximately. That changes. It's about 67 of them using it actively. So that would be one thing that I could contribute.
Suggestion to get started with getting people engaged in people's comments into legislation would be, we're trying to experiment with something, which is people generally don't come and comment on anything because legislation is not sexy enough for it to appeal to everybody. So what we're doing, so as a first step, what we started doing is to annotate, articles from newspapers to that particular piece of legislation, which would then drive people to come, read them or say something about them. So that's a possible approach that you might want to think about.
And can you pass it here?
One question, one suggestion. What was the platform built in? Okay, and I guess
Your PHP and MySQL.
all right, very cool. Second question: what you might find useful is, I guess, like an incremental engagement. So maybe not necessarily trying to go and get like everyone, but the university. So if you could get law students who would naturally be interested in legislation, that sort of thing, if you target them and say, well, maybe you guys could start to look at, provide input on the laws, and then from there, that might be an easier way, because as you said, legislation isn't sexy, but there are some people who find it sexy. So the students might be very interested in participating in that.
I think we do this in Romania, but I mean you can arrange them by topics, the legislation, because
we are also thinking about it.
we, like journalists and media NGOs who are interested in some topics, we go and we discuss with members of parliament before they start discussing the legislation, and we gave them examples. If they do this, it's going to be really bad in the eyes of the international community or stuff like that. But we are doing on our, on our field of interest in media. And one other thing you could do, you could start asking people to adopt an MP, just to adopt an MP, like a member of parliament and to keep an eye on him. And this guy, when he doesn't show up for work, they could send him messages. Maybe he's ill, you know. That's a problem.
Yes, but one of the reasons we came here is to talk to people who are developing live Congress API, because we are also thinking about it to somehow do it at least live votings. That's what we'll be able to do it, not providing live access to documents.
And one question, how much does it cost to maintain this database? How much does it cost?
Maintaining the database?
Like monthly or yearly? What's your operational cost? Your budget, and who pays for it?
Well, the grant we have received last summer comes from Open Society Institute from the Budapest office, and it's also one of the OSI foundations from Poland, the Batory Foundation, and then there is also a mentorship support from my society, CEE, the branch from the UK one. Yes, I mean, one of the reasons we are currently actually using the shared hosting for this, we'll be probably switching soon to VPS or dedicated, because, well, we are very lucky that we'll be having elections in 5 months, and exactly the parliamentary elections, so this is very good for all our promotional actions and so on. So we are thinking about something very similar to adopting a member of parliament. And, okay, there is an answer here. Exactly. So, yeah. Any more? Okay.
I mean, in terms of just outreach stuff, I feel like if you can work with, if you can make it easy for advocacy organizations to... Thanks. If you can make it easy for advocacy organizations to use the data that you're organizing to reach out to their constituencies, because they have... You know, those guys have tons of email lists, so if you can make it easy for them to reach out through those email lists with like actionable stuff, so it's like write your congressperson if you know, like this bill's coming up, like you guys like animal rights, like, you know, if you can make that easy for advocacy organizations to interact, maybe not even through your platform, but just powering that type of experience, you could probably get quite a bit of reach through like the cause side of things.
About 10 minutes.
Okay, that should be enough. Okay, so let me just say that the things we are currently working on, and we have to deliver them by July, because they're part of this financial round. It is an iOS application, Android application, and the third one is API, strictly for Sejmometr. And from API, we'll probably starting, because we already have many NGOs approaching us, and they're saying like, oh, we could use this RSS feed, which has this in it only because we need it for our daily work, because they're tracking some legislation and so on. So, and they are approaching us a lot. We don't have the so much capacity to always help them or always help them within a short time. And we also have to we are very focused on actually reaching out to the people mostly, because we are very aware of that all the journalists and all the NGO guys and law guys, they already know us, and the reach there is almost 95% when it comes to, and it's spreading like a fresh bread, we say in Poland. But so yeah.
Just one question. And is it possible to use it on the? Is it possible to use it on a local governmental level in Poland? So could you adopt it that all local governments use it, and you have all the local governmental people there and so on? Or so have you, or do you have to analyze all of their own home pages of these local governments, or have you a common website for them or database?
Well, the Polish system is quite complicated. We do have something which could be named a local government-ish. And in principle, when it comes to grabbing the data, but we don't have something. Well, we could use the technology in some part, but the problem is that there is almost no one publishing some data from Sejmiki. So that's we have the Sejm and Sejmik. That's the local governments, and there is no output from their side. That's the next phase, but a lot has to happen. Now, one of the funny things which Daniel was showing here is that we actually have been contacted by the government. They asked us if they told us that they have spent like lots of months thinking about some kind of a data output because they have to do it, and in the end they asked us if they could use our API and our technology to do what they were supposed to do. And okay, guys, lunch is there, and thank you a lot for your feedback, and I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, thank you.